Negroni, one of the great gin classics, a gin that turned 100 years a couple of years ago. I simply love this iconic drink, and I was intrigued when I saw that the crazy, fun-loving Master Distiller Nick Wadeson from Three Wren Distillery had made a ready-to-drink Negroni. So, of course, I had to check it out. Hi guys, and welcome to High on Gin. Well, there are several reasons to celebrate the Negroni, partly because in itself it is an achievement to be able to maintain its enormous popularity for so many years, and partly because, well, it gives me another good excuse to enjoy one of my absolute favorite gin cocktails, which, with its depth and sweetness and bitterness and spicy taste, really has won my heart. Negroni originated in 1919 in Florence, Italy, when Count Camillo Negroni, after having had an argument with his wife, went down to Caffè Cassoni and asked his favorite bartender Fosco Scarselli to make an Americano cocktail, which is made out of Campari, sweet vermouth, and mineral water and lemon peel. But this time he wanted something more powerful. I guess it must have been quite an argument that he had with his wife, since he needed something stronger. But anyway, the result was that Fosco Scarselli replaced the mineral water and the lemon peel with gin and an orange peel. And voila, the Negroni was a reality. Negroni in general is available in many different versions, with regular gin or aged gin, with other alternatives to Campari, but also in versions where the gin has been replaced with spirits like vodka, called a vodka Negroni, or whiskey, called an Old Pal, or replaced with sparkling wine, called a Negroni Sbagliato. And Sbagliato means mistake in Italy. Supposedly, a bartender grabbed sparkling wine instead of gin as he was making this cocktail, resulting in a, well, you can call it a very delicious mistake. But you could probably try out other types of spirit as well, as long as you make sure that it is both bitter and sweet and strong, if you still want to call it a Negroni. But of course, I want to stick to gin. Even though it might sound like a very simple drink, with these equal parts of Campari, vermouth, and gin, the devil lies in the details, and even small variations can give a very big taste difference. Common to all the recipe is that the three ingredients are poured into a mixing glass with ice and then stirred and then served. Except, of course, the Sbagliato, where you stir Campari and vermouth and then strain it into a champagne flute and then add the sparkling wine. And you do that, of course, to keep the bubbles in the sparkling wine. But since this is a ready-to-drink Negroni, I've just poured it into this mixing glass here with some ice, and then you stir it well until the outside of the glass really feels cold. And then you strain it into a tumbler glass here, well, preferably with one large ice cube, but I didn't have that, so I'm using regular ice cubes here. And then you garnish it with an orange peel that you first twist here over the glass to release these oils into the drink. You might be tempted to really swipe the glass, swipe the peel around the rim too for added flavor, but expert advise against that. What they say is that the residue will cause a slightly numbing effect when you sip, which alters your drinking experience. The twist is more than enough. And then you replace this one here like this, so that the outer side or the orange side of the peel is facing you. And this will create the most aromatic drinking experience. Va bene, ecco qui. Before we drink it, let's check out the bottle here. You know, when you use 3 ingredients that all have an IBV, the first thing that we must check is the ABV here. Okay, it says 30%, which sounds about right if the gin is around 45% and the Campari is 25% and the Vermouth is 16-17% ABV. And the next thing is what he have used. I couldn't find, you know, very detailed information about the subject, but they say that they have used both Campari, check, and sweet Vermouth, check. It doesn't say which sweet Vermouth, but sweet Vermouth, that'll do. What it does say here on the bottle is that it is his original dry gin that is used for this one here. This one has a touch of both saffron and vanilla in it. Well, that sounds good, as I guess it will add to depth and sweetness and spicy bitterness that we are looking for in a Negroni. And then Nick does something very interesting. He puts the mixed product into a French Sauternes Oak Casks and let it rest for 6 months. And if you have seen my previous episodes about Three Wrens, where I introduce you to the limited edition, this one here called the Sauternes Barrel Aged Gin that Nick did. And here I told you that the Sauternes wine barrels came from the 2015 vintage Bordeaux. Sauternes is often characterized by the balance of sweetness and this zesty acidity. Some of the common flavors and flavor notes in Sauternes and in the barrels are apricot and honey and peaches with this little nutty note to it. So again, it is very easy to see that Nick is trying to add to the depth and the complexity and the sweetness here. So let's smell it. Oh. In the nose, it is, you know, it's very rich and quite herbaceous, just like that you would find in a normal Negroni. I think especially the herbs from the Campari comes through. And I love that the orange really calms everything together and calms it down and binds everything together. And when we taste it, this is a very classic Negroni. It is sweet with these darker fruity notes. It has this light oak and vanilla feel to it. It is both strong and bitter. It has a bitter finish and a very good rooty and earthy notes to it. And the orange zest, it just, you know, lifts the whole combo to a new height, I think. You know, really adds it all up. I love this dark amber orange color to a Negroni. So what do I think? Is this my favorite? Well, first of all, I must admit that I tend to do my Negronis slightly more sweet, towards using a bit more vermouth and a bit less Campari to bring out more depth. So normally I don't stick to the 100% to the original recipe of using equal parts of gin and vermouth and Campari. With that in mind, I think that this result is very, very good. It's a very good classic Negroni, a Negroni with a little bit of that extra depth that I love. The additional vanilla and the light oak notes really does it for me in this one. And I could easily drink this one and then have another one and then maybe go to bed. Well, so if you expected something crazy from Nick, as he's known for his bold and wacky additions like the key lime pie gin I tested last week, well, you will be disappointed. Nick may be giving us some unusual gins, but don't get this guy wrong. In my mind, he has a very good understanding of the key elements in gin and how to use these flavor agents in the right way. He knows when to be serious and he knows when to let out his inner child. And I really like that about him. So, until next time.